done the same way, except instead of parallel, it's perpendicular lines. So remember, if you've got two lines that are parallel, they have the same slope, right? If they're perpendicular, obviously they're not the same slope. Perpendicular, remember, forms a 90. Now, there's one big difference between the two lines, the slopes of the two lines. What's going to be different in each slope? One's blowing up, so it's positive. One's going down, so it's negative. Okay? So the other thing is perpendicular line slopes are reciprocals. Remember what a reciprocal is? Flip it. So the actual definition is that they're negative reciprocals, because negative just means change the signs. So to check whether or not two lines are perpendicular, just like yesterday we found their slopes, and if they're the same, they were parallel. Today you find the slopes, and if they're negative reciprocals, then they're perpendicular. So to find this slope, again, I could go from this point up to here, but remember, you can choose any point that that line goes through. So this goes up to and over 1. I could have went up 6 and over 3. I'd get the same 2 over 1, okay? This one, if I start at this point, I could go down to here and over, but I could just go to there too. It goes down 1 and over 2. So, they are opposite signs. One's negative, one's positive, and they're reciprocals, so it's just yes. Okay? You want to put that away?
Yeah.
So, here we've got two lines that are written, these are written in standard form. Standard form is where the x and y are on the same side. So, it's a little bit more work to figure out the slopes of these. If they were written like this, you could just look at this and see that these two lines would be perpendicular, because this slope is 3, this is negative 1/3. So you'd say yes, they're perpendicular. But when they're in standard form, you've got to switch things around. What you have to do is put this into y equals mx plus b form. So, to get the y by itself, you got to move this over. So it'd be negative 2y equals, this would change from a positive to a negative 3x, and I didn't move it, so it just stays 1. Okay? Then you got to, so divide by negative 2, and all we're worried about is the slope, the number on the x. So negative 3 over negative 2 is just 3/2. Okay? So this slope is 3/2. This one now, we do the same thing. We'd move the 6 over. So it'd be 9y equals, this would change to negative 6x plus 3. Then divide by 9. Negative 6/9, which reduces to negative 2/3. So, are the lines perpendicular? Yes. They're opposite sides and they're reciprocals. Okay? So again, if you've got the graph, you can just do rise over run. This rises 1 and runs 1. 1 over 1, which is 1. This one, you can choose any point. It goes down 1 and over 1, which is negative 1. Are they negative reciprocals?
No.
1 is the only thing that's a reciprocal of itself. Because if you notice, if you flip 1 over 1, it's still 1 over 1, right?
Yep.
So, these two are considered reciprocals of each other. So this one is perpendicular. Okay, so remember that 1 is the only number that's a reciprocal of itself. This one, this line is easy to figure out. This slope is -3. Now, does everyone know why? You can tell that right away?
That's the y by itself.
Yeah, it's y equals mx plus b. This one, you gotta move stuff around. You gotta move the 6x over, so it'd be 2y equals, this would change to -6x plus 8. Divide by 2. -3x plus 4. So that slope is also -3. So these are, you would just put no for perpendicular, but they are parallel.
We have to say are parallel.
No. I think it's just you can say yes or no if they're perpendicular. Okay, then we get to writing the equations, just like we did in yesterday's assignment. So, again, they give you an equation. You want to write the equation that's perpendicular to this, passing through this point. So again, it's easy to figure out the slope. The slope of this line is 3. So since we want it to be perpendicular, what do we need to use? -1/3. Okay, because you reciprocal this and then change the sign. So now it's exactly like yesterday's problems. We use this point with the slope to figure out what b is. So we put 1 in for y. M is -1/3. X is 3 plus b. So the 3's cancel. You would just have -1 plus b. Add 1 and you get 2 equals b. So the equation would be y equals -1/3 x plus 2. Okay. Here, again, it's the same problems. It's perpendicular to this, passing through that point. This slope right here is -1. So we have to use +1. Now, this is an easy one. I don't know if you guys, we haven't seen a lot of them yet, but we did last year. If x is 0 and y is -4, that's what b is. Whenever x is 0, that tells you what b is. So these are simple ones. It's just y equals 1x minus 4. Now, if you don't recognize that, you can go through and plug it in and solve it just like we did before, and you'd get the same answer. So this slope is 1/4, so we use -4. You reciprocal it and change the sign. Then we use these 2 points along with the m to figure out what b is. So we put -2, -4 in for m, 2 in for x, plus b. So -4 times 2 is -8, plus b, add 8, and you get 6 equals b. So then the equation is y equals m, which is -4, x plus 6. Okay?